Well, then let's introduce ourselves. I'm Damien Karras.
And I'm the devil.
We've said it before, and we're going to say it again. There aren't too many horror movies on our top 100 movies of all time list, but if we're going to put one on, it has to be The Exorcist, which is number 8 on our list. This was from 1973. William Friedkin was the director. Max von Sydow made a really big international name for himself as the priest in this film, and Linda Blair barfed all over the place.
That's right. This is the story of a 12-year-old girl who somehow has some ancient demon fly into her body, and
Your origin story.
Her mother, my demon never left, and her mother is trying to figure out what goes on, so she goes to the church. You guys know how this thing goes. You know, the thing about The Exorcist is it's one of those horror movies, not unlike the Blair Witch Project, that you kind of forget you're watching a movie. At some point, this thing just starts to feel like a documentary. It feels like something that could really happen, especially for somebody like me who grew up going to Sunday school, going to the Catholic Church, and believing in Jesus and God and devils.
It's almost Catholic propaganda in a way, isn't it?
It does. I mean, this will make you say dozens of Hail Marys and make you ever want to eat pea soup again.
It's truly scary. Even 30 years later, 40 years later, it's still incredibly scary.
And that's the thing. There are special effects in this film that are so seamless that they don't even seem like special effects because they're just such a part of the piece of the story of this movie, and they're used so sparingly. They're never overdone. They're never overcooked. I mean, there are moments in this thing that you will never forget. There are things that you see in this movie that you can't unsee, and of the top 10, probably of this entire top 100, this is probably the least pleasant movie on this whole list. I mean, this is not a fun ride.
No, it isn't. And it takes its time as it's putting the story together, you know?
It creates a believable, credible world first and establishes that bond between the mother and the daughter in this thing. And so you really believe, this is a single mom, too. Back in 1973, it's kind of the antithesis of Kramer versus Kramer in some ways.
Mother, what's wrong with me?
I think it set the tone for a lot of horror movies. Obviously, every exorcism horror movie, and there's been a lot of them since then. We keep seeing them, and most of them are garbage, but all of them tip their hat to this thing. And I think any movie in the horror genre where a big part of it is suspense, it's not so much the gore, and although there is some gory stuff and there's some really grotesque stuff in this movie, a big part of the tension and the fear that you feel, that palpable kind of terror, is built up in your imagination. It is built up in, oh my God, what's going to happen next kind of stuff, even if it isn't exhibited on screen. And there are some terrifying things shown on screen, but a lot of it is just where your imagination takes you.
Keep away! The soul is mine!
What this movie did, and I think a lot of the movies on our list did, is they established a vocabulary for horror movies going forward. I mean, we hadn't really had any exorcism movies before this, but we certainly had a lot of them, and we'll continue to have a lot. I mean, this is almost a genre unto itself, the exorcism subgenre in the horror film genre. And when movies are that good that they do that, they articulate something scary about the human condition that we've never had articulated before. I mean, that's an important moment.
Where's Reagan?
In here with us.
Yeah, we also get a pretty cool inside look at the church and how the church would handle a situation like this, and putting a priest in the
feels so real,
in the hero role, and when all else has failed, every kind of remedy you could think of to help this poor girl falls away. You have to turn to God to kind of save the day, and I thought that was also a really fascinating part of this film.
Save your servant.
Who places her trust in thee, my God?
Be unto her, O Lord, a fortified tower.
In the face of the enemy.
Your mother smokes cigars in hell.
There you have it.
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
The Exorcist still spinning our heads completely around. It is number 8 on our top 100 movies of all time list.